federal funding is available through the McKinney-Vento Act in the form of competitive subgrants to school districts. The program awards competitive 3-year subgrants to school districts to facilitate the enrollment, attendance, academic success of homeless children and youth. Subgrants are needs-based and take into account the number of children and youth who are homeless and enrolled in preschool, elementary school, and secondary schools within the school district. How can a school district apply for McKinney-Vento Act subgrant? A school district can apply for McKinney-Vento Act subgrant from the New York State Education Department. Are charter schools eligible to receive the McKinney-Vento subgrant funding? State charter schools are considered an LEA, local educational agency, are therefore eligible to receive the McKinney-Vento subgrant funding. Local charter schools, for example, schools that have entered into agreement with the local school district rather than the state, are not eligible to receive the McKinney-Vento subgrant funding. What are the LEA, local educational agency, responsibilities? Liaisons have the responsibility to ensure that homeless children and youth are identified by school personnel and through coordination activities with other agencies. Homeless children and youth enroll in and have a full and equal opportunity to succeed in schools of that LEA. Homeless families, children, and youth receive educational services for which such families and youth are eligible. For example, before and after school and summer educational programs, referrals to support services as well. The parents, guardians of homeless children and youth are informed of the educational and related opportunities available to their children and are provided with meaningful opportunities to participate in their children's education. Public notice of the educational rights of homeless children and youth is disseminated where such children and youth receive services such as schools, family shelters, and soup kitchens. Enrollment disputes are mediated, and the parent or guardian of a homeless child or youth and any unaccompanied youth is fully informed of all transportation services, including transportation to the school of origin. Can the McKinney-Vento subgrant fund be used to pay for temporary housing, for example, a hotel-motel for a family whose home has recently become uninhabitable, or to prevent an eviction? The McKinney-Vento subgrant fund should not be used to pay for rent or temporary housing for a family whose home has recently become uninhabitable. The family should contact the local Department of Social Services for help securing temporary housing. However, if assistance is unavailable from any other source, the district may use the McKinney-Vento fund to pay for housing for a limited period of time for a month's rent. Are migrant students covered under the McKinney-Vento Act? Many migrant children and youth, because of their families' transient lifestyle, are likely to fit the definition of homeless under the McKinney-Vento Act. Migrant students who meet the definition of homelessness should be designated as such and share the same rights afforded to other students experiencing homelessness under the Act. What happens if families who are temporarily housed do not identify as or consider themselves homeless? Families and youth who are homeless oftentimes do not identify themselves as such for a variety of reasons. Most families and youth are unaware of the McKinney-Vento Act, and school districts must therefore work to ensure that these individuals are informed about the Act, who it covers, and what it provides. Those who are aware of the Act often do not self-identify because of the stigma attached to being homeless. Families and youth in temporary living situations do not necessarily have to self-identify as homeless in order to be designated as such. Must a student be poor to be covered under the McKinney-Vento Act? Are there income eligibility requirements under the McKinney-Vento? No, there are no income eligibility requirements under the McKinney-Vento Act. All students who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence are considered homeless under the Act. Is there a limit on the amount of time a person could be considered homeless? No. A youth can be designated as homeless for an unspecified amount of time. Given the limited availability of affordable housing across the state, it is not unusual for a temporarily housed student to be designated as homeless for multiple academic years. The EHCY program provides formula grants to state educational agencies to ensure that all homeless children and youths have equal access to the same free, appropriate education, including preschool education, provided to other children and youth. State and local educational agencies receive McKinney Act funds to review and revise laws, regulations, practices, or policies that may act as a barrier to the enrollment, attendance, and success in schools of homeless children and youth. What are the educational rights and protections of students experiencing homelessness? They can go to school no matter where they live or how long they've lived there. They can choose between the local school where they're living, the school they attended before they lost their housing, or the school where they were last enrolled. Enroll and participate in school without proof of residency, immunization, school records, or other documents normally needed for enrollment. State educational agency funding helps support services such as toll-free hotlines, awareness-raising activities for educators and service providers, preparation of educational materials for statewide distribution, technical assistance to schools, service providers, parents and students, and enrollment assistance. However, evaluations of the EHCY program reveal that while much progress has been made in ensuring homeless children's access to education, many barriers still remain, but there are some steps to ensure children to receive education. Think about it. You may have had a student that may have faced or may be facing the problem right now. As a teacher, how are some of the ways you can identify and help a student go through the transition of homelessness go more smoothly? What creative things can you as a teacher do to help encourage a student that are facing these problems? There are no color or distinction. It affects everyone. In conclusion, what homeless children need most of all is a home. While they're experiencing homelessness, however, children desperately need to remain in school. School is one of the few stable, secure places in the lives of homeless children and youth. A place where they can acquire the skills needed to help them escape poverty.